friends, you're welcome to my channel today with me. So today we'll be learning how to draft a basic sleeve that you can use to attach to your garment. It can be for gown, it can be for top. So stay with me as we continue. I have a measurement guide that I will be showing you the measurement you'll be needing for sleeve, how to cut a perfect sleeve. So measurement guide for perfect sleeve. You need to take the length sleeve, that is where the sleeve will stop. Always ask the person, where do you want your sleeve to stop? Then the next place to measure is the biceps, and here we'll have a sleeve length is 12, we'll have a bicep 15, and we'll have a round sleeve, or I call it tight, so you can call it round sleeve. I have a round sleeve here at 13 inches. So this is the measurement that we'll be using today for the sleeve. So I have a paper here with me. This paper is 2. Whenever you want to cut sleeve, fold your paper into 4. 2 like this for front, for one sleeve, 2 like this for one sleeve, the other one for one sleeve. So you fold it into 4. So I will be folding this paper like this into 4 to draft my sleeve. So and I will draw a line as my starting point. So this line here is my starting point. I just draw this line so that we'll know where to start taking our measurements. This particular sleeve that I want to cut, the bust measurement for this person is 42. So we have the different standard for sleeve. We have different standard for sleeve. Particular one now, this first standard I want to explain to you is the standard that you will divide your bust measurement. So this first standard I want to explain to you is the standard you divide the bust measurements by 12 and you add ½ inch to it. So this bust measurement, the first one here, measurement is 42 divided by 12, we'll be having a 3.5, then you plus ½ inch. So this first standard I will be using, we are going to use 4 inches for the cap height, and we'll have another measurement here that I will also explain to you later with another paper for you to understand something. This one is, when I come to this place, I will explain more about these 2 measurements, but let me start from this one now, the 40 divided by 12. So when we talk of this standard, how to get the cap height, what you are to do is to start by this side to mark that 4 inches. 3.5 plus ½ inch. If you divide your 42 by 12, you have 3.5, then plus ½ inch. So that will give us 4 inches. I'll mark my 4 inches like this. I'll mark my 4 inches like this. And this one is going to serve as my cap height. So from this point now, you can rule a straight line. From this starting point, you can rule a straight line. You remove 1 inch. My straight line can go from this 1 inch to this place, to this my cap height. Then you find the midpoint. You find the midpoint of this cap, of this straight line here. What I have here is 9 inches. So if you divide by 2, you will have a 4.5. You mark 4.5. So from this 4.5, you can now go up by 1 inch or half inch. You can go up by 1 inch. From this angle, you come in by half inch. So you have to curve your hand from this point now to this your 1 inch. You curve your hand like so to this your 1 inch. Then from this point now, you curve your hand again to connect with this half inch. Like this, you have a sleeve shape. So you can now add your measurements now. The bicep measurement, when we talk about bicep, let me show you what I mean by length. Is to start from this point, this angle, the high part of the shoulder, to get your length sleeve. It can be a short sleeve, it can be a 3/4, it can be a long sleeve. So when we talk about the bicep is from this angle. You take your bicep, you slant your tape. Don't allow the tape to be straight when you're taking the bicep measurement. You slant your tape like this to get, don't allow it to be too tight. If you can take tight and you free it by 1, so you get a perfect bicep. Then what we call a round sleeve, the ending part of the sleeve, where the sleeve stop, you take the round sleeve. You can call it tight, sometimes I call it tight. So you can, if it's a 3/4, you also come down and take again another round sleeve or tight. If it's a long sleeve, you also come down again and take. So that is how you get your round sleeve. So this person's round sleeve that we'll be using for this thing. So the bicep here that we'll be using here is 14 inches. 14 divided by 2, because this sleeve is folded into two, one side, the other to one side. So you divide your bicep measurement or your round sleeve measurement by 2. So if I divide the 15 by 2, I will have a 7.5 inch. I mark my 7.5 inch. You can now add your sewing allowance, maybe 1 inch. If you're perfect, 1 inch is okay, or you can add 1.5, depends what you're making. So this place, let me mark the length sleeve. The length sleeve of this person is 12 inches. So I will add 2 inches sewing allowance. I will go ahead and mark the same 12 inches this way and add 2 inches allowance, sewing allowance. So I will rule a straight line like this to connect these lines together. And rule this one also to connect it together like this. So this remaining part here, will not be needing this part. This is where the sleeve length stops. This one is to hem. When you join the shoulder, the sleeve to the dress, and you hem this down, you can lining it or hem it. So the round sleeve here will have 13, round sleeve or tight. 13 inches divided by 2 will have a 6.5. 6.5, I mark 6.5. And you can add 1 inch. Remember this one, you can add it 1.5, you can add 2 inches, is still okay. If you're perfect, 1 inch is okay, or 1.5. I'm using this 1 inch because of the paper. So you connect a straight line like this. You connect your lines together from the round sleeve, to the biceps measurement. You connect it together. So now it's time for us to cut our sleeve. So I will first remove this line. I don't need it anymore. This is the length of the sleeve. Then I will come and fold this one inside like so. You fold it inside like this before you start cutting, so that you won't have a shortage of fabric here, or your pattern will not be short. So from this angle you can now carve your sleeve like this. So this is your sleeve. Now there is something again that we normally do. See the shape we are having here. If you cut it straight, you won't have this shape. Time to close it, you find out that when you hem like this, you have shortage of fabric. So you always hem it back like this, in the same way you will close it before you start cutting. Let me remove the paper to show you another thing. After cutting the sleeve, remember that this sleeve now, this is the wrong side of it. This side that I mark my marker is the wrong side, and we'll have the good side inside. So the shape of this sleeve now, the front and back is not always the same. Let me pin it back again this way so that I can show you the way you can cut your front. Always make sure you put it like this, front to front. If you want to use back to back to cut this front sleeve, put them like this, one for front, one for back. Okay, remember that this is this line here is the starting point. Let me notch it. Let me notch it so that we will not make mistake. This is the starting point. So I've notched it now. I can now open to remove that sleeve shape now, or the front part. You know, when we cut armhole, we always remove something here, because the reason why is this place is very deep than the back side. So here is deep. You need to remove so that you have a fitted dress. So you remove ½ inch from it. This is the starting point, the center of the sleeve. From this 1 inch is where I will start to remove that ½ inch. So you mark your ½ inch like this, ½ inch like this. From this point now, your ½ inch, as you're marking it, you don't allow it to get to this sewing allowance. You stop, leave this allowance. So from this 1 inch now, you start to curve your hand to this 1 inch. You curve your hand and you bring your hand down. Make sure you stop before the sewing allowance. So you can now remove this excess in front. This is what you have at the sleeve front. This is the back sleeve, the front. So if I open this sleeve like this, this is what we will have here. You know, this is the wrong side, this is the wrong side. So you will be getting like this, front. So if you don't place it well, you will have a problem. You now find out that this front side, one side will now come back, one side will come front. So you have to place it front to front to cut the sleeve. So I will show you another standard again in cutting of sleeve, because when we are cutting it in shop, we don't really calculate all these things. There is a standard we always use in cutting of sleeve. Here you just calculate it. I have something here. Now when you're getting your sleeve cap height, there is a standard for medium people, for slim people, like 4.5 or 5 inches, from the measurement of 12 to 14. You can use the cap height to be 4 inches or 4.5 or 5 inches to get the cap height of this measurement, 12 to 14. Then from the measurement of 15 inches to 18 inches, you can use a cap height of 5 inches, 6 inches. But if you're making a dress for someone that round sleeve or the bicep I mean is up to 20, 22, 25, please let the cap height also be deep. Make it like 6.5 or 7 inches. I will show you. For instance, this is the standard I normally use for shop. I don't calculate that 12 something because no time. You need to cut and to move on to another work. So if you follow this standard, you can cut sleeve. Even when somebody wakes you up from sleep, you can cut a sleeve. So let me show you what I mean by, for instance, I want to cut a sleeve for someone that round sleeve is 22. Let me use 22 to show you. So I will just go, I will mark my round sleeve after taking the length. This length is 11. I'm using it just the way it is. What I will do, I will mark the cap height like 7. Let me use 7 for this person, or I can use 6 for this person. You can use 6, you can use 6.5, you can use 7 to still be okay. Then I will go ahead again and mark the round sleeve, the biceps rather. The bicep now is 22. For this person, the bicep is 22. So I will mark 22. That is divided by 11 inches. And I will add 1 inch as hemming allowance. Then the round sleeve, which is the tight, also can be, this is 22, can be 20 or 19. Let me use 20 for this person. The sleeve is not too long. Then I add 1 inch again for hemming. So I will just connect it like this. So I will connect my sleeve first like this. Then I will come from this part now. I don't need any divide by this thing. I will just connect my hand like this. I'm trying to carve for free hand way. You see what I'm connecting without calculating any this thing. You carve your sleeve like this. So you make sure that this place, sometimes I check here. I check the space here. For this person, like 6 inches. From here, you carve your hand. There are some measurement that here should be like 4 inches. Depends the size. If you just carve your hand, you see the shape. This S-like shape that you're trying to carve. You just see where your hand will follow. So you need to understand how to use your free hand way so that when you're cutting in your shop, you don't have time to waste and be. So based on this measurement that I just draw now is the reason why I come up with this standard to show you how you can get a cap height for someone of 12 to 14, 15 to 18, 20 to, because if I divide this person's measurement that I use this standard now to cut, this person's bust measurement is 54. So if I divide the 54 is by 12, I divide 54 by 12 is 4.5. 4.5 plus half inch, that is 5 inches. So if I'm marking 5 inches here, okay. So if I'm marking 5 inches here for this person, like this one is 7 inches I use, remember? So this is the shape I will get, trying to connect my hand from this angle to my 5 inches. It will not give me a good fitting of sleeve. Sometimes you find out that there is excess here. After fixing the sleeve, you have excess here. So this divided by 12 is still okay. There is a way you can sew the dress to still be okay for this kind of person. But to me, I like this standard that I showed you. I like this standard that I just know for a big size of a round sleeve, I need to bring it down more than 5 For a medium person, I will use like 5 or 6 to get this scalp height. For a smaller person, I will use 4, 4.5, 5 inches. So that is how to get your sleeve. Thank you very much for watching. So if this is your first time of stopping by, please do well to subscribe to this channel. That is the only way you can support me, to encourage me, and give this video a thumbs up. And my subscribers, I thank you very much. Thank you so very much. See you in my next video.